Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be giving you my Taurus April 2018 horoscope forecasting. Yes, this does apply and pertain to the sun, moon, and ascendant. Anyway, people, first thing off is, well, as far as April goes, the sun will be in Aries from the 1st until the 19th, so the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, this could be a period for a lot of concentration of energy, focus, and attention put into being aggressive, assertive, courageous, using fortitude, perhaps in confronting limitations and restrictions, and perhaps trying to weed out hidden adversaries. This could be a time, too, where the light may shine, so to speak, on those hidden adversaries. In some cases, it could be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies those characteristics. It could be people that are just very combative, very aggressive, and want to, and really are strongly about discord and strife. So anyway, this could be also a period too where you could really be about doing something really as far as using that energy, that concentration of power and focus and attention, really going into just private matters in general. There can be private battles, ones that you don't really want others to see, and there could be a lot of attention put into that at this time, and also perhaps being courageous and aggressive and really showing that really that Aries assertiveness in perhaps helping those that are less fortunate than themselves, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, and the homeless. Anyway, next thing up is the sun. As far as April goes, the sun will be in Taurus from the 19th until the 30th, so the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, for Taurus, this could be really about a lot of, you could say, deliberate, plotting, persistent, even stubborn, methodical energy and energy that's unwavering into maybe shaping the self, so to speak. It matters pertaining to oneself, such as the physical body, especially if this is actually the first house it's hitting in one's natal chart. This could be a time, too, where you really want to shine and stand out at this time, and really with a lot of that Taurus characteristics or way of being, such as making, as far as financial acumen, making money. It could be just showing your steadfastness and maybe being recognized for it at this time. Also, too, the first house is also about new beginnings, so it could be a time too where you might be starting maybe new beginnings and doing so with a lot of energy and doing so in a very methodical and deliberate Taurus fashion. So anyway, and with that latent energy as well. Next thing up, well, the new moon will be in Aries on April 15th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, there could be a lot of initiative and enterprise and a lot of courage and fortitude, perhaps into starting maybe calling out hidden adversaries, people that you are suspicious that are just pretending to be your friends, for example. It could be about initiating a private battle, and even maybe starting something, showing a lot of initiative and enterprise and leadership, doing something maybe connected with the 12th house, such as the metaphysical, which could include astrology. This could be a time, too, where one, looking at this, and one example, could be like maybe starting to become a volunteer firefighter because you're talking about an Aries type profession, but being in the 12th house of self-sacrifice, maybe not expecting a lot in return or compensation. It could be starting the process for a weapons permit or some kind of private combative type lessons like karate or boxing. something where you're looking at Aries energy and the 12th house. Well, anyway, next thing up, the full moon will be in Scorpio on April 29th. So the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So for Taurus at this time, well, Taurus might become tired and full and exasperated, perhaps even at perhaps a significant other or even a business partner that might be showing a lot of surreptitious, manipulative behavior and even sneaky, controlling behavior as well at this time. This could also be a completion of something Scorpio-like, in which maybe you embarked on with somebody else. It could be something connected with the occult, supernatural, or even astrology, something connected perhaps with psychology, psychiatry, forensics, even locksmithing, something mysterious. This could also be a time, I mean, when you have a full moon, it can often be about an unveiling and revelation. So this could be about perhaps an unveiling or some kind of revelation, perhaps of maybe some kind of mystery that was connected maybe with an open adversary, or it could be with a significant other, or somebody that you have a close friendship with, or even someone in a business partnership. This could be a time where a conundrum could actually be solved, if there was something mysterious 7th house related. This is a good period where it could, where that secret could actually come out. So anyway, next thing up is Mercury will be in Aries this month. So as far as April goes, I should say, as far as April is, and the 12th house will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, this could be about a lot of direct, outspoken, forthright, and aggressive communications in private. It could be communications with those less fortunate than yourself, such as the oppressed, the impoverished, the homeless, and really direct and outspoken ones. It could be where you might be saying something like, well, you people, you need to get up and help yourself, or something to that effect, where you're not really holding back that much. And it could be a lot of original, pioneering ideas you have, but they might be in seclusion and solitude and might not really want to talk about them necessarily outwardly. And considering that it's going, you're looking at Mercury in Aries being in retrograde for about half the month. So part of that period, it even is more reason maybe to be reluctant to really speak out about anything, if you have any original pioneering ideas at this time. And given that you're talking about Mercury and the 12th house, this is where you might be a little bit more reserved and inhibited in speaking at this time. So you've got to blend that in, of course, with the fact Mercury is in Aries. I mean, you still might be forthright and outspoken about certain things, but more as far as privately, and also speaking out perhaps about people you might be suspicious that might be hidden adversaries, people posing as your friends. And it could be a time too where, remember that Mercury does rule other things, and siblings is one thing. And it could be a time too where maybe a sibling kind of goes into hiding at this time, and it might be where you really, maybe you lose a little contact with him or her during this period when you're talking about Mercury and the 12th house of restrictions and limitations. So anyway, well, next thing up is, well, Venus will be in Taurus as far as April goes, from the 1st until the 24th. So the first house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, there could be a lot about love and enjoyment of peace and tranquility, and might be noticed on a first impression, and where you're feeling even more gentle, attractive, and even more docile than usual. This could be a time too where it could be about some kind of new, really about new beginnings, which is tied into making money and showing good financial acumen in the process. If Taurus is unattached, this could be a time where Taurus might meet somebody, or it might be somebody that they might rekindle a connection with from their early childhood. It could be somebody that has the sun, moon, or ascendant in Taurus, or simply somebody that embodies Taurus-like characteristics. So anyway, and also too, this could be a time for Taurus where there might be more about artistry as well, and might be feeling more artistic at this time. And really, in this, as I stated before, this could be about a time if Taurus is unattached, where it could actually be a very auspicious period for meeting somebody, and that could be a prospective significant other, because we are talking about Venus and the first house. So anyway, next thing up is, well, as far as April goes, Venus will be in Gemini from the 24th until the 30th, so the second house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, this could be about a lot of enjoyment of variety and versatility, and using dexterity, perhaps in generating income. This could all be tied into values at this time for Taurus, and really the enjoyment of mental stimulation, intellectual stimulation, good intelligent conversation, talking about a variety of things, and doing so perhaps with others that maybe you generate income with. It could be also a time too for Taurus, if Taurus is unattached, that perhaps they might meet that perspective as significant other or what have you, romantic partner. It could be at the place they generate income, or somebody that just simply helps them with self-esteem and self-worth. It could be a Gemini sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies those characteristics. And also could be a time too where Taurus might be more inclined to be maybe dating two people simultaneously. And it could be, as I stated before, somebody that it could be people that might figure prominently in their self-worth and self-esteem at this time, or somebody simply that maybe they generate income with. It could be at their job. So anyway, next thing up is, well, Mars will be in Capricorn, so the 9th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, this first off, the situation perhaps with in-laws and grandchildren, if applicable, may be more acrimonious and contentious than usual. This could be a time for Taurus where Taurus puts a lot of consistent, disciplined energy perhaps into matters with in-laws, grandchildren, into higher education. It could even be publishing, or even traveling abroad at this time. Now, there could also be really at this time for Taurus maybe serious philosophical arguments, perhaps with in-laws, grandchildren, foreigners, people that they may meet traveling abroad. It could also be arguments over responsibilities, politics, government, with in-laws, with grandchildren, with foreigners, people that they meet by traveling abroad. It could be also even maybe people that they go, if they're if Taurus at a university or college, maybe people that they encounter there. Anyway, well, the next thing up is, well, Jupiter will still be in Scorpio, so the 7th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, this could be about luck and fortune, perhaps through transformation in relationships. It could be matters in a business partnership, and also perhaps some luck and fortune by perhaps going beyond subterfuge, going beyond the superficial in court matters, in matters connected with open adversaries, digging deep. Really, another thing too about this is that, I mean, this is going to be also, it's going to be retro for this month. So this could also be about a review, in some cases, of an expanded, maybe psychological analysis of a significant other, of a business partner, in some isolated cases perhaps, and also perhaps a review of really a deep, maybe profound, I call a non-superficial philosophy regarding dealing with a significant other, with a business partner, and even with somebody that you might be in an, it could be an open enemy or open adversary, somebody in a someone in a court situation you might be battling at this time. anyway, next thing up is Saturn will be in Capricorn. So the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time, Taurus may encounter some restrictions and limitations in matters perhaps with in-laws, with grandchildren. It could also be in traveling abroad, maybe with publishing even, higher education. It could cause Taurus to feel a little bit more melancholy and despondent than usual. Some cases this could be some kind of government restrictions or some authority or some restriction associated with authority. I mean, in some remote cases, it could be a probation situation for Taurus, which is prohibiting them from traveling abroad. It could also be at this time too, where Taurus really this could be about, in some cases, taking care of a debilitated or sickly in-law or grandchild. It could be something connected with the knees or with the bones even. Another thing too about this could also be, Saturn will be in retrograde as far as April goes from the 17th until the 30th. So there could be a lot of review about serious responsibilities to ninth house matters, such as traveling abroad. It could be issues with grandchildren, with in-laws, maybe even publishing, as well higher education. So, and also matters pertaining to one's religion, even in some cases. So anyway, next thing up is Uranus will be in Aries. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. So at this time for Taurus, well, Taurus may experience some erratic and sporadic activity in their private life. Sometimes this could indicate having sleep disruptions. Their freedom may feel somewhat inhibited at this time. And also, too, that in some cases that friendships might actually, people that they're in friendships with might be hidden enemies or hidden adversaries. In some cases, this could be, and that very isolated, an onset of some kind of unusual mental illness, or simply about having an unusual need for solitude and seclusion. And sometimes even bizarre or eccentric behavior might lead to the self-undoing at this time. Taurus might have may have some ingenious or original ideas at this time that could be pioneering. They might even be rather spontaneous, considering that we're talking about Aries, but might be keeping it to his or herself for whatever reasons at this time. I mean, in some cases it could kind of inhibit ingenious or original ideas, but in other cases it could also be about Taurus just not simply suppressing these ideas. So anyway, next thing up is Neptune will be in Pisces. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. So at this time, this could be about the dissipation or a dissolving of friends or acquaintances at this time. I'm having this transit actually take place in my natal chart now, and I'm having friendships dissipate and dissolve like there's no tomorrow. It's like one after another. One will will inexplicably write me off, and then another one does. It's interesting how astrology can be so accurate and veracious sometimes. So anyway, this could also be about delusion and deception connected with friends and acquaintances, perhaps confusion over one's future and ambivalence connected with this. Also, too, be careful, Taurus, because Neptune and Pisces can be about false prophets, and these false prophets might have some impact perhaps on your future to some degree, or aspirations might tell you to go a certain route, and it could wind up being to your detriment. So, and also too, it might be a time for Taurus where he or she may be dealing with maybe a friend or an acquaintance that may be connected with some kind of drugs or alcohol at this time. And at the same time, this could also manifest in a way where Taurus might be looking at maybe some Neptune-like aspirations and goals, such as something with the metaphysical, which can include astrology, something connected with spirituality, photography, chemistry, something that is Neptune related. So anyway, next thing up is Pluto will still be in Capricorn, so the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. So at this time for Taurus, well, a lot of this could be about perhaps, I mean, a lot of you don't want me to say this, but of course I say it anyway. I mean, generally, because Pluto is associated with death, I mean, the dreaded D word again, and in some cases this could be about a death of an in-law, a grandchild, or even death through foreign travel. Remember that Pluto is about destruction and obliteration. This could also be about the destruction of a certain philosophy, but at the same time, it could also mean Pluto is about rebirth and regeneration, so it could be supplanted with another one. And also, too, I mean, this could be about power struggles with in-laws and grandchildren. It could also be about obsessive compulsive behavior with some kind of philosophy or way of thinking. And also, too, Taurus might be going through some kind of transformation at this time connected with religion or philosophy. And at the same time, this could be in some cases, if Taurus is connected, like with the FBI or something, or CIA, some kind with something that's connected with undercover work, this could be a period where there might be some covert government work where Taurus winds up going overseas. So anyway. Well, the next thing up is, well, the North Node will still be in Leo, so the fourth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, Taurus might mean when the North Node is in transit, it could often be about what one has to confront. So Taurus may have to confront some, maybe a family member or someone he or she feels close to home with that might be acting in very domineering manner, very overbearing, arrogant, flamboyant, even extravagant. And also at the same time, Taurus might be taking more pride, directed to taking more pride and dignity in their roots and traditions, and showing more generosity in the home life, and really taking pride in who they are at the core as well. It could also be about addressing extravagant home expenses, or really wanting more attention and recognition for what he or she does around the home at this time, and also for the family. So anyway, well, next thing up is the Black Moon Lilith will still be in Capricorn, so the ninth house is what will be emphasized and highlighted for Taurus. So at this time for Taurus, well, this could be a timing when the Black Moon Lilith could often be about what could put us in a strong state of trepidation. And given that we're talking about the ninth house and Black Moon Lilith in Capricorn, this could be about actually perhaps losing or relinquishing a consistent or orthodox philosophy, maybe about inability to publish consistently. Also, too, this could be about, I mean, the Black Moon Lilith could be about revelations and unveilings, and this could be a time, too, where maybe an in-law or grandchild might be exhibiting some kind of tyrannical or undemonstrative or even over-ambitious type ruthless behavior at this time. And another way this can manifest is that maybe that Taurus lets out of the bag, or somehow it gets let out of the bag, and Taurus didn't want it to come out of the bag, so to speak. Some kind of overly depressing or pessimistic philosophical outlook at this time. And also, this could be about a formidable Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant adversary that comes to light, or somebody that simply embodies Capricorn-like characteristics. And someone, it might be somebody that they meet, maybe it could be a foreigner, or somebody that they're in some kind of university or college with, or somebody at their religious congregation. And like I said before, it could be a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, or simply somebody that embodies Capricorn characteristics. Anyway, next thing up is Chiron will be in Pisces, as far as April goes, from the 1st until the 16th. So the 11th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, this could be a lot of suffering over perhaps confusion, ambivalence, and an unclear future, over unclear aspirations and objectives. Also dealing with duplicitous friends and acquaintances, even friends and acquaintances that might be tied into drugs and or alcohol, or maybe even being victimized by this person. Also dealing with, in some cases, this can manifest as a lot of self-pity, maybe directed at one's friends at this time. And also the dissipation and dissolving of friends is where Taurus might be experiencing some emotional suffering and dealing with emotional wounds at this time, and maybe even being victimized and duped, maybe with people that are in some kind of organization or group that Taurus is involved in, and really also too, but keep in mind though that Chiron is Chiron is the wounded healer, so in issues that Taurus is having difficulty with that are connected with Chiron and Pisces in the 11th house, well, they could actually help others out with dealing with comparable situations, and do so with a lot of that Pisces like empathy, compassion, and self-sacrifice. Now, last but not least, Chiron will enter Aries on April 16th, and as far as April goes, will be there from the 16th until the 30th. So the 12th house is what will be emphasized and highlighted. So at this time for Taurus, well, I actually have this placement natally, so I could really relate to this. I'm also going to be going through my Chiron returns. So anyway, this could be about, it's interesting in ways this could manifest. This could be about perhaps maybe where anger and aggression, overly, being acrimonious and losing one's temper could lead to the self-undoing. In some isolated cases could lead to some kind of imprisonment or incarceration, or maybe there could be some emotional wounds or suffering Taurus is going through at this time, through lack of assertiveness, lack of aggression, and really paying repercussions because of the not being able to express those qualities outwardly, or the opposite could, or sometimes like the opposite could happen, and Taurus may act out aggressively and assertively at the inopportune times, which could lead to one's self-undoing. And also maybe lack of assertiveness with dealing with limitations, with restrictions, or even with hidden adversaries or hidden enemies, and unwilling maybe to call them out. And this could be a time, and also this could be about private battles that Taurus may be going through, and really in going through some emotional wounds and suffering because of that, dealing with strong, contentious, acrimonious situations with others in private. And also too, but keep in mind, though, as far as, and also, I mean, the danger, too, about this is, in some isolated cases, this could be about some kind of onset or some mental illness that could take place that could be connected with angry and acrimonious behavior, mental illness that might be connected with being maybe overly aggressive or combative. But the thing about this is, the areas that Taurus could be having difficulty with at this time that are connected with Chiron and Aries in the 12th house, they could actually help others out dealing with comparable situations and issues, and doing so with a lot of that Aries courage, fortitude, aggressiveness, and assertiveness. And anyway, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for my Taurus April 2018 horoscope forecast. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be giving you my Gemini April 2018 horoscope forecast. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person astrologically speaking based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.